When it comes to social media, I think one of the things that I always tell people is just beware of your sources. You know, who's writing it? Are they reputable? Do they know what they're talking about? And what are they trying to sell you? Because at the end of the day, we're all selling something, right? I'm selling financial advice if you want to be completely blunt about it. There's people that are selling investment or insurance products. And those are sometimes square peg round hole because you may need insurance. Do you need the kind they're selling? I don't know. And that's one of the reasons we recommend, talking to an advisor that is a fiduciary that's required to look at all areas of your financial plan and make sure all the pieces actually work together to give you the outcome that you need. And that's a really important piece because sometimes you have someone that looks at something in a narrow silo, as we call it, right? You have someone that's really good at taxes, your tax preparer. You have someone that's really good at estate planning, your attorney. And then you got an investment guy. But if all those pieces aren't really talking to each other, you could have an unintended consequence because, the tail isn't talking to the head of the dog. And that's a problem when it comes to financial matters, especially when we talk about how things can multiply over time. And if those things aren't aligned with what's important to you, maybe you're a really high earner and you want to retire at 55. Well, if you're socking every single penny away you own in a retirement plan, you can't access that till you're 59 and a half without penalty. That's kind of a problem for an early retirement plan. So just having that conversation and making sure that you're, obviously being tactical when it comes to taxes, but also making sure that how you're building your wealth and your balance sheet so it's accessible, right? You can't typically use, or you shouldn't often use your retirement account to buy a second home. It's a really costly proposition. It's going to cost you 20 to 40% more because Uncle Sam, and if you're in a state like Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, you're going to get shot in the foot with taxes too. So, if that's one of your goals, right, making sure that you're building wealth outside of retirement accounts to do something like that. So when I see strategies on social media, I'm looking at, who's writing it. I'm looking at what they're saying, right? How many times have anyone seen the strategy about buy a rental property and the IRS is going to foot the bill for it under the short-term rental loophole? It's not really a loophole unless you're truly running a hotel-like experience out of a rental property that you, by the way, still have to pay for. So a lot of people go into this cost segregation thing, and it sounds great. And we get emails about it. People are like, yeah, can the IRS buy my vacation home too? The short answer is probably not. Are there a handful of people this works for? Absolutely. It's all legal, but it's got to be done right, and it's got to be for the right person. So those are the things that I'm always weary about when I see, and I see it a lot because they're eye-popping numbers when you talk about depreciation of $600,000, and I have a client that makes $3 million and only paid $30,000 in tax. I mean, these things are flooding my algorithm. I see it all the time, which means people out there are seeing it. I think reality is somewhere in the middle. There are certain things people get to do and benefit from if they have the right mix of assets and goals and desires. But, back to the rental thing, some people just don't want to be a landlord. And that's it. They want to go on vacation and be in their vacation home. So I think there really needs to be a lot more context around a lot of that stuff. And also when it comes to like a product sale or something like that, being cognizant of what the goal of that product is, right? If it's a life insurance product, is that the best or the cheapest or the most efficient way to build wealth? Well, maybe for the right investor, it is someone that's maybe a little more conservative, maybe has some tax or estate issues that need to be addressed. But for every single person out there, I'm going to argue no. Maybe it's a piece of the puzzle for some people, but not for everybody. So I always try to tell clients when they ask us about stuff they've heard, where did you hear that? Why do you think it applies to you? And is it something you're even interested in? And maybe we're here just to simply debunk the myth, or maybe it's something we have to have a constructive conversation about. Where I get even more concerned with social media and financial advice is some of the investment opportunities you see on there, the trading platforms of, we've made 100% year over year since inception. Typically that's one of the situations where if it's too good to be true, it generally is. And, there's very few people or investment firms or whatever that can consistently beat the market. We talk about the famed investor Peter Lynch, and we talk about how things... Should I cut? Social media to me is, media, right? It's a form of entertainment. You're not reading the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, where you have really polished columnists writing on a technical topic that, even practitioners like myself rely on for not just advice, but strategy or what's going on in the world, law changes, etc. So I think part of it is have some fun with it because there's a lot out there. And for me, I like to look at some of this stuff and just kind of laugh it off because I know how crazy it is. But I understand for someone that doesn't have the background that I have as a CPA or certified financial planner, that some of this stuff could look pretty sexy. And a lot of people want the home run. They want the easy route to retirement. They want the one-hit wonder. That's just not reality in most cases. And unfortunately, a lot of wealth building takes hard work over a really long period of time. And there is no shortcut to doing it. And I think that's what a lot of these strategies preach. They seem too good to be true. They seem set it and forget it. They seem easy. Where in reality, that's just not how it works. At least for most people, unless you find this, Powerball ticket. But that's not a really good retirement strategy, in my opinion. So I think, just look at it with that lens, and I think you'll be okay because it really is tough to dissect the information to what will apply to you, what could apply to you, what is actually true, and what's just a sales pitch or even worse, some sort of fraud. And be cautious, but enjoy it in the same breath.